Absolutely, there are many others, but here are the 6 biggest ones. In the Bitcoin world, some attacks and criticisms come up frequently. Opponents of Bitcoin, whether political leaders, bankers, or economists, almost always use the same outdated rhetoric to denigrate Bitcoin. When you have been in the Bitcoin world for several months, you will notice that Bitcoin is often accused of facilitating illegal activities. This is a subject that has been addressed many times, but politicians love to resort to this totally false attack. In fact, it has been proven that using the US dollar for illegal activities is much easier than using Bitcoin. At other times, some will tell you that Bitcoin is bad for the environment. Bitcoin would consume too much power to work properly. In reality, it has also been proven by various studies that Bitcoin is even good for the environment. Most of the energy used by the Bitcoin blockchain to operate comes from renewable energy sources. Redirecting this energy to Bitcoin avoids wasting energy. Energy consumption is therefore not the famous Bitcoin Achilles heel that some people would have you believe. Then, some will argue that Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. These people do not realize that the value of a currency or an object is totally subjective. For those people who are interested, I invite them to read this excellent Wikipedia article on the subject of the subjective theory of value. The supporters of this theory explain globally this. The value of a good is not determined by any inherent property of the good, nor by the amount of labor necessary to produce the good, but instead value is determined by the importance an acting individual places on a good for the achievement of his desired ends. Thus, the US dollar is only valuable because a majority of people decide it is. It is the same for gold. For Bitcoin, it is the same. Bitcoin users are convinced by the monetary revolution that Bitcoin embodies. They want to believe in the better world that Bitcoin builds for everyone in the future. Among the many reasons why Bitcoin is so valuable to them, there are 6 main reasons. Bitcoin is scarce. Bitcoin is the hardest money in the world. There will never be more than 21 million BTC in circulation. Bitcoin's programmatic monetary policy is there to abstract it from the corruption inherent in humans. It is a great advantage to finally have good money at our disposal. Bitcoin is transparent. The transparency of the Bitcoin network is to be contrasted with the opacity of the current banking system. Nobody knows what is going on at the heart of this system. Nevertheless, the tip of the iceberg is chilling with fines for money laundering or manipulation that keep falling against the world's major banks. The people deserve better. Bitcoin has no leader. Bitcoin belongs to all its users. Its goal is to give power back to the people by removing the control of money from the hands of governments. This is the #1 prerequisite for us to have good money available again, as Friedrich Hayek said in 1984. Bitcoin is decentralized. Rather than a system with a single point of failure, Bitcoin relies on a decentralized system based on its users. They are the ones who ensure the operation and security of the Bitcoin network by providing their computing power. This works perfectly because Bitcoin has never been hacked in more than 11 years of existence. Bitcoin is borderless. Bitcoin transcends national borders. It allows you to make transactions halfway around the world in a matter of minutes without the risk of censorship by a third party. Bitcoin remains the best solution to transfer money around the world safely and quickly. Bitcoin is synonymous with freedom. Bitcoin protects 5 fundamental human rights. It gives you the freedom to live your life on your own terms. In a world where governments and web giants threaten your freedoms, Bitcoin is your best money weapon to keep control. More than 100 million people are now in the Bitcoin world. These people are willing to pay $11,000 to buy a whole Bitcoin. This shows how much they value what Bitcoin offers today. As the adoption of Bitcoin accelerates in the future, the price of Bitcoin will increase. There will be nothing miraculous about this increase. It will only be proof that millions of people will have understood that what Bitcoin offers has an incredible price in the world of the future. You will know what to say the next time someone tells you that Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. Bitcoin celebrates 12 years of its white paper by reaching $14,000. It is November 1, 2020. Yesterday was a special day for Bitcoin. Indeed, it was on October 31, 2008, that a mysterious unknown man named Satoshi Nakamoto published a white paper that would change the face of the world forever. Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper was soberly entitled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. If you still haven't read this 9-page document, I invite you to do so. It is pure poetry. In just 9 pages, Satoshi Nakamoto has managed to describe the functioning of a complete system that was designed to empower the people in matters of money. So it's been 12 years since the idea of Bitcoin was made available to the general public. The official launch of Bitcoin will take place a few weeks later on January 3, 2009. Satoshi Nakamoto knew from the very beginning that Bitcoin had only two options for its future. Bitcoin will succeed, or it will not. There's no third option. Right. Otherwise we couldn't have a finite limit of 21 million coins, because there would always need to be some minimum reward for generating. In a few decades, when the reward gets too small, the transaction fee will become the main compensation for mining nodes. I'm sure that in 20 years there will either be very large transaction volume or no volume. Satoshi Nakamoto shared his view. Satoshi Nakamoto already envisioned that Bitcoin could only become a phenomenal success or a resounding failure. He chose to give Bitcoin to all the people of the world as a wonderful gift. With this incredible gesture, Satoshi Nakamoto showed everyone that he was well aware of the importance of his unique invention. It would then be up to Bitcoin users to make Bitcoin a success or a failure. Almost 12 years after the official launch of Bitcoin, we can safely say that Bitcoin is a huge success. The first option considered by Satoshi Nakamoto seems to be the one that will take over. To celebrate with dignity this 12th anniversary of the publication of his white paper, Bitcoin has reserved us a nice surprise on October 31, 2020. Indeed, its price reached $14,000. This breakthrough at $14,000 was brief, since the price of Bitcoin was then rejected, bringing it back to $13,500. Nevertheless, we should not minimize the fact that this was the first time since January 2018 that the Bitcoin price reached $14,000. The month of October 2020 will therefore remain a great vintage for Bitcoin, since its price will have increased by plus 32% from $10,500 to $13,800 at the time of the monthly closing. As we approach the 6 months post-halving, the plan is going smoothly for Bitcoin so far. Indeed, it is usually in this 6-month period that the post-halving bull run takes shape. It would appear that there are no exceptions to what will become the rule with this third Bitcoin halving. The sharp increase in the Bitcoin price in October 2020 is nothing compared to what is expected for Bitcoin in the coming months. Therefore, many wonder if Satoshi Nakamoto could become the richest person in the world in the future. If tempted that Satoshi Nakamoto is a real person and not an entity as some suspect, I think it is a very real possibility. I explain all this in detail in a dedicated article that I invite you to read. Can Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin's creator, become the richest person in the world? I've told you a lot about money so far, but you should not lose sight of the fact that Bitcoin is a multifaceted revolution. Therefore, the consequences of Bitcoin on the society of the future will be very important. Bitcoin aims to build a better world for everyone in the future, and that is also where it is truly revolutionary. While Bitcoin will not make you happy instantly, it will give you the freedom to live your life on your own terms. And it is precisely this freedom that will maximize your chances of achieving happiness in your life. Rather than talking about happiness, I should be talking about contentment, as some rightly pointed out to me this week in the comments. Finally, it will not have escaped you that the American presidential election will take place in a few hours. If I sincerely believe that American citizens should elect a better president than Donald Trump to represent them, you shouldn't delude yourself. Even if Joe Biden is elected, the monetary and financial system will not cure all its ills with a wave of the magic wand. In general, more and more citizens around the world are rejecting political systems. This is clearly no coincidence. And I think that fixing money with Bitcoin can be the first step in fixing the problems of political systems. By giving control of money back to the people, Bitcoin will avoid allowing politicians and bankers to give in to the natural human inclination for corruption. Without these temptations, politicians will make better decisions, and the people will gradually regain confidence in the political system. I agree that there is still a long way to go, but we must start with a first step, as Lao Tzu said. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Bitcoin is the first step for a fairer world in the future. The next decade will allow Bitcoin to truly reach its full potential. More and more people will be looking for a way to preserve their wealth in the years to come. This is a certainty. Institutional investors understand this, and that explains why Grayscale Investments has been rating the Bitcoin supply since the beginning of 2020, for example. In 2030, Bitcoin will probably join the list of phenomenal opportunities that have taken advantage of an economic crisis to see their value boosted like never before. Positioned primarily as a store of value that is censorship resistant, Bitcoin will compete with gold in its $8 trillion market cap in the coming decade. If Bitcoin were to reach the gold market cap in the coming years, its price would exceed $350,000. This gives you an idea of the upside potential for Bitcoin in the coming years. Based on this, it is up to you to take advantage of Bitcoin or not. The most important thing is that you educate yourself to be able to make the best decision for you with the good information.